Hi, and welcome to my Wyvern 13 blitz guide. First thing you're going to notice is that my team shows as weak. That's because none of these guys have very high CP except for now Angelica and Alexa. Alexa didn't. I started with her at 50. Furious was in his 40s when I first started completing this, and you can do so too, and you don't have to have the greatest gear. The important thing is to have your rolls covered. You're going to want a tank/healer, which in this case we're using Angelica, and she was the only one that I had at 60 when I started. You can definitely do it with her 5 stars and just level 50, as long as you have a lot of health gear on her. We're going to be using Alexa as our DPSer, Furious as our armor down or defense down debuffer, and Dizzy is my generic debuffer. There are plenty of other debuffers that you can use that can apply fire or poison or bleeds, and that's fine too. First we're going to clear the trash. I did make an error in my timing. One of the things that you want to have when you're done with this is have a shield up for everybody, because the first turn from Wyvern is pretty brutal, especially if your characters are not super well geared. I managed to do that successfully here, but I was a little zealous in taking down the trash, and I used Furious's S3 one time a little bit too early, so I didn't have it available first turn on Wyvern. Let's see that here. I should have just probably used an S1. That's going to complicate the Wyvern fight later on, but it shows you that you can do it even if you don't have a perfect run. Everything doesn't have to run perfectly for you to be able to finish this. And we're going to do it pretty fast. Wyvern is only going to get one shield turn off. And you're about to see that now. Wyvern gets his first turn, and thanks to the shields, our group does pretty well. First thing you want to do is have your debuffers start applying all the debuffs. You need at least 3, if not 4 more debuffs on Wyvern, so that he doesn't do an exceedingly large amount of damage on his next turn, and more importantly, so that he targets your tank, your frontline tank. If he has very few buffs, he'll just target one of your DPSers and kill them immediately, and that's not what you want to happen. Here we see that I wasn't able to put the defense debuff on the first turn on Wyvern. Sometimes it happens. The good thing about Furious is that every 2 turns he can get off one of those attempts at a debuff. I have him geared mostly for efficiency and speed instead of damage, so he gets to try that as much as possible and lands them pretty reliably on Wyvern.
Sword of Righteousness!
If you guys saw also, I burned Alexa's S2 at the very beginning of the fight. That lets me put 2 poisons on Wyvern, because soul burning ignores efficiency, and since Alexa is my DPS, she is mostly geared for speed, damage, and crit, and she doesn't have any efficiency. So the only times I use her S2 is with a soul burn, so that it lands those 2 poisons. If you do your cycles right, which I didn't do on this fight, but you should be able to pull it off most times, you should be able to put 4 poisons on Wyvern for his right after the first shield phase, and that will annihilate him on his own turn. You get to see that on the very last turn here that I take. I actually do manage to land the 4 poisons, although a little bit late in the fight, to make a difference.
I don't lose.
When he puts up his shields, he cleanses himself of all debuffs, so make sure you don't waste one of your armor breaks, one of your defense debuffs right before he puts up the shield. You'll be able to see it at the top right when he's about to do it, so you can time it so that you don't accidentally waste your defense debuff. You can see a soul burn from putting 2 poisons.
Why should I spare you? Forward, forward! Blood will flow like a river.
And you have plenty of time during this first shield to put all the debuffs that you need. So don't worry if your debuffs are on cooldown on that first turn, because he doesn't get to take a turn until either you take a really long time, or you actually destroy his shield, and then he'll take his turn. If you take way too long to destroy this shield, he will then immediately attack everybody, and you might as well have lost at that point.
For the future of Aachen. Glory for Aachen. Death to our foes.
Let's fight.
Oh, it can't be helped.
One of the advantages of having this as your debuffer is that a lot of her debuffs are pretty much making Wyvern miss and do less damage, which is really, really helpful for keeping Angelica alive in the front line if you don't have enough of you to have her super, healthed up.
I don't lose.
Here we're going to see the 4 poisons on Wyvern.
そろそろ帰りませんか？終わらせなきゃ。
Pretty much as soon as he gets his turn, the 4 poisons kill him, and that's it. A quick thing, I forgot to go over artifacts, so we'll do that now as I end the fight. The artifacts are important in this fight because they'll let us do some really neat things. For Angelica, we have the Prophetic Candlestick, which lets her get her heals off more often, and it procs quite well during the fight because Wyvern attacks her so often. Alexa's going to have the Daydream Joker so that she can do more damage to Wyvern, which is pretty much her only job here. Furious. On Furious, I used the Song of Stars, which lets him add targeted on all his single attacks, which is all he has, which lets the rest of the team do more damage. And then this he uses Tehesiel's Ancient Book, which gives me the extra souls at the start of the battle, which we will be using on Alexa for her soul burn.